Hi YouTubers, what we are going to do today is we are going to rhinestone these little Christmas trees. So these are little wooden Christmas trees I got off of Amazon. They come into a couple different varieties here. And we are going to spray paint them and then glue on some rhinestones today. It's a great, quick, easy little project. It'll also be a great get together and craft group project for Christmas. So let me just show you what you need. Alright, so first up you're going to need your thingy to rhinestone. This project started because I found these little guys at Target last year. I did a pumpkin and I did Christmas trees. These are ceramic and were in the dollar spot last year at Target. I didn't see them this year. I haven't been to Target looking for them a lot, so I haven't seen them this year. But I did find these little wooden Christmas trees on Amazon. I'll put a link down below to where you can find them. Wood, ceramic, this will work on a couple things. You just need to make sure you have a flat surface to rhinestone. I got these as part of one of the sets here. Realistically, I will never rhinestone this because of these curves here. You're going to need to use little rhinestones, and that's not my favorite thing to do. So flat spaces are going to work better if you ask me. So you're going to need your little shape to rhinestone. I'll put a link down to my little trees that I found on Amazon down below. You are going to need spray paint them or acrylic paint them, however you want to do this. You could also leave them natural if you wanted to just do a shiny wood tone tree. But for rhinestoning, what I do, you're going to want to match your color to your rhinestones. That way it helps camouflage any of the gaps that you're going to have when you naturally try to push a bunch of circles together. So you'll have to embrace the gaps. Now for glue, I am using this guy, the Fusion Tack, in a precision tip bottle. The reason being is that it makes life a lot easier when you're doing a bunch of trees. Now I like this because the glue comes out white, and then as it dries it clears. And so that way you know how much dry time your glue has, and if you can still use it. That's why I like this. This guy is clear. He's totally okay to use too, I would imagine. It's totally personal preference. Now, I have this in this bottle because it makes life easier. If you want to do this for like a group project, what I would recommend is the lipstick applicators. And then everybody can squish out some glue and then pick up glue and just rub it on. That way you're not having to buy a bunch of these bottles. You're going to need rhinestones. I have chosen to use glass rhinestones because I think they sparkle more pretty than the resin ones do, and sparkle for Christmas is kind of where it's at. You also don't need a lot of rhinestones for this. This is Crystal AB. This was a mixed pack from Diamond Fire. Fresh pine mix. It's up to you wherever you want to get your rhinestones and whatever color you would like your rhinestones to be. You can use glass ones or resin ones. Resin ones are more budget friendly. If you are giving them as gifts, that is something to consider, especially if you're giving it to a gift as somebody who may not appreciate it. One thing to keep in mind, these are little ducks I did. This is glass and this is resin, but this is also a mix. And there's a bunch more rhinestones on here than there are on here. So see how this one sparkles more and this one doesn't? That's part of the reason why. So based on the look you're going for, I would keep that in mind too. The more rhinestones, the more sparkle you're going to put on it. The bigger rhinestones, the less sparkle and the more muted tone it's going to be. So in this one, I had used, this is the Opal Luminous White. And I had used it for another project, so I had a bunch of big rhinestones left over. So it's not quite as, it's not quite as sparkly as if I had put a bunch of little ones on here. So keep that in mind to go for the look you are wanting to. All right, so I have my precision tip bottle here. And I just squished my glue in here. These are my rhinestones. We're using the Snow White mix from Diamond Fire. Now, I'm not an affiliate. They have no idea who I am. But they're one of my favorites for glass rhinestone mixes, things like that. If you don't have the precision tip and the paper plate, you can squish some glue over here and you would just dab and wipe, and it would work just as well. Now, I like to work in sections. The reason being is that the rhinestones are going to squish around and move until you get them, until the glue sets a bit. These are the little mermaid tears, little bubbly ones. I kind of think they're cool. And I'm using, this is a wax pencil. This is a pink wax pencil. And I'm using, it is a wax pencil. It's a pink one. Normally they're in other colors. But there's any number of things you can use to pick up rhinestones. This just happens to be my favorite. I think it's because you can just sharpen them with a regular sharpener, and that way you can always keep like a really sharp tip. Now you want to make sure that you have your rhinestones at the bottom in a line so that they looks more professional that way and a little less haphazard. But they're going to move a bit until they set. I liked playing Tetris as a kid, and I think this is why I kind of like this method. You could also do some kind of a honeycomb kind of thing if you wanted to. I think I like that you can't really mess up a scatter, and that's why I always end up doing it. But it's just kind of hunt and peck and put in your right size rhinestones. Now we're going to let that dry. And something you do want to avoid is stuff like this, where you've got like a ridge of glue. Use a good old fingernail. Because when you try to butt rhinestones back up into it, there's going to be like a dam of glue there. So you're going to have like a gap. Really not that big of a deal, but it is a little annoying when you try to come back in here and you can't push your rhinestones back where they're supposed to go. So, also in a perfect world, I would have done a better job spray painting these, but I didn't. So, but thankfully, since we're going to cover them up, you're never going to know. So, and then I'm going to come up here and we're going to do a section here. Also keep in mind, the bigger that your scatter is, or the bigger that the rhinestones in your scatter are, the quicker this is going to go. Meaning, this tree took me a fraction of the time that this one took me, because they're much bigger rhinestones. You also got to think, if you've got like a little delicate tree, you may want to do a bunch of little rhinestones, because sometimes the big ones just kind of look out of place there. So we're going to let this dry, is what I'm going to do. Now understand, the light is giving this a yellow tint. It doesn't really have a yellow tint in real life. So I've given this some time to dry for a couple reasons. Now we can go put in our rhinestones here, and when I push against them, they're not going to go anywhere. Also, if I get my fingers in it, I'm not going to like mess it up and have it move around. So, and then from here we can work this way, and then we can work this way too. So, but after this, it's pretty much all the same. I'm going to squish all my glue and I'm going to shove on my rhinestones. And then from here, you're just going to keep gluing and moving. And when you have two sides to work from, it works pretty quick. You can get them done fairly quickly because you've got this middle part that's dry. So you have something to kind of push the stones against. So the biggest problem is make sure you don't put your fingers in it. So on this tree, I started over here and then I've been working my way out. And now that this is all dry, you've got lots of little sections you can kind of work on. So you can work faster when you've got some little dry sections on here. Just like I said before, I don't know if you can see this or not. See, like there you go. You want to avoid really heavy glue because when you try to go push your rhinestones back in there, the glue prevents that. So that's just about the only thing you really want to avoid. But other than that, you just kind of glue and go. Alrighty, so we are all done. This is our luminous opal. And then this was our snow white mix, which is still looking yellow over here. It's so weird. I don't know what the lighting's doing over here. And then these guys I did in Transparent AB crystal. And this is over white. And then these two are over green and blue. They're still the transparent. It's a little sparkle over the color. And then these two are just mixes. I will say with these guys, I like them better far away than I do up close. So up close, I like these better. Farther away, I like those better, for whatever that matters. But it's a fun, quick little project. I think it would be great, like group project if you wanted to do like a together crafting project. You can get this done in probably an hour if you're like talking and placing rhinestones. It'd be fairly inexpensive to do as well. It's also a great present if you have people who want sparkly stuff from you. You can use leftover rhinestones. You could also use resin rhinestones, which would be cheaper. So please like, subscribe, and follow for more crafty content. Thank you so much for watching.